Hi Pisces, welcome to Sweet Tea Astrology and Tarot. My name is Erica. Welcome to the channel. I'm so glad that you found me. This is your Venus retrograde special video report where I will talk about Venus, where she speaks to us in our world and how she impacts our lives, the retrograde motion and what that means, and the houses that you will be impacted in. Venus will be dancing through. And this is an issue not only of the Venus retrograde, but also the fact that there is a solar eclipse occurring at 8 degrees of Pisces in your sign. You're hosting a solar eclipse, so there will be brand new beginnings for you on a personal, physical level. This can be in your appearance, your physical body, or how the world sees you, your personality. So new beginnings in that first house, and Venus retrograding from the second house to the first house. Venus, the planet of love, beauty, harmony, money, and resources, is going retrograde in the sky this year between Aries and your sign, Pisces. Retrograde is an optical illusion in the sky, which looks like a planet, from our perspective here on Earth, would be going retrograde or backwards in the sky. It's not really that they're going backwards, it's an optical illusion. The best way that I've ever heard a retrograde explained is the illusion of driving on the interstate where you're behind someone, they're not going fast enough, so you get over in the passing lane and you accelerate. You're going at the same rate of speed, you accelerate more, and with a certain amount of distance you put in between yourself and this car that you just passed, when you look in the rearview mirror, it looks like that car is actually going in reverse. It's not. It's an optical illusion based on the distance that you've put between your moving vehicle and their moving vehicle, but it's what you're seeing. So it's that optical illusion of it going backwards in the sky. When Venus goes retrograde, it gives us a time for retrospection, reflection, and reassessment of things in the houses where Venus is playing in. Now, for you, Venus will be going from Aries in your second house to Pisces, your first house, and then back into Aries before she clears her post-retrograde shadow and moves on through the rest of the zodiac at her normal speed. But this is giving us a chance to reassess and reflect on some certain issues in our world. The second house is the house that is traditionally ruled by Taurus. It's the house of your money, earning ability, self-esteem, and also your possessions. I like to think of it as the house of mine. Anything you could point to, classify, identify, or introduce as mine or my would fall under that second house umbrella for me. And the first house is the physical embodiment of who you are and how the world sees you. It is your personality, your physical body, and your appearance. That house is ruled by Aries traditionally. So, a lot of first and second house energy. It could be that you are wanting to change the way that your body looks, so you start working out. Is one very literal way of this playing out. Another way is that you could be dealing with a relationship or person, situation, circumstance that you valued at one time that was removed from your life or that had went away, maybe coming back for another look at the energy in your world. So that's just some ideas on how that could be playing out between the second and first house. Notice there will be some new beginnings in your first house, so it's pretty much a wild card for you. Now, Pisces, the way that you can ride this energy, or the best way to ride this energy, is for you to focus on yourself. And that's not to say to be a jerk to anyone, but any decisions, planning, anything that comes down to you dealing with other people, you need to only deal or plan on you. Because the people around you, no matter how concrete you hope that they will be, they are subject to change, and they can, for whatever reason, through circumstance or event, be unable to follow through with what they said that they would do. There are perks associated. If you can hear whoever that is, like, completely jamming out, it's a full moon, lunar eclipse. I live in front of a bar. It's going to get crazy. The perks that are associated with this Venus retrograde are dealing with reconnection and renegotiation. And when you have the planet of love, money, and beauty, also money and like the money and resources that you have transiting through your physical house and the house of your resources and your values, the house of mine, it's an extended period for you to look at what you care about, what you value, and what is no longer worth your energy. And one of the best ways to weigh if you value something or not is to ask yourself, is this worth fighting for? If it's worth fighting for, then roll your sleeves up and fight for it. If it is not worth fighting for because it needs to be repaired or refurbished, do the work necessary and then fight for it if it's worth it at that point. If you have reflected and reassessed and re-examined and you find that the situation, person, or circumstance is no longer worth fighting for, then it's an opportunity for you to lovingly release them, the situation, the person, or the circumstance, with gratitude and thankful energy for the lessons, the blessings, and the growth that they brought in your world. So, Pisces, that's what's going on. What I'm going to do now is transition over and show you some oracle cards. This is the Butterfly Oracle Card for Life Changes deck by Doreen Virtue. I like to use this card deck when under the influence of eclipse energy. And this Venus retrograde is most certainly under the influence of the eclipses, because even with this lunar eclipse in Leo that I am recording under tonight, or this afternoon, it's not really nighttime just yet, we're in the pre-retrograde shadow of Venus, that appetizer period. This is a Sage Goddess Gemstone Oracle deck. I'm going to be pulling a card from this deck as well. Also, the Journey of Love Oracle deck by Elena Fairchild. The artwork is by an artist named Razuli. And finally, last but not least, the Divine Circus Oracle deck by Elena Fairchild. The artwork was done by many different artists that she commissioned, so I'm not going to be able to give them a specific shout out, but I do give loving, grateful energy for the dedication that they put into their craft, because the deck is gorgeous and it's fast becoming one of my favorites. Pisces, I'm going to take this time right now to let you know that for some of you, this reading may not resonate. And if that's the case, that's fine, because you're more than just a Pisces. You actually have a little bit of each of the zodiac in you. You have a natal chart that has 12 houses, and each of those houses are ruled by a sign of the zodiac. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I encourage you to Google the words free natal chart and have your birth certificate close by so you can type in your birth information. It will ask for your birth date, your birth time, and your birthplace, and it will generate a picture of where the planets were and the aspects playing out between them and other celestial bodies from your perspective the moment you took your first breath on Earth. And from that, we can decipher your sun, your moon, and your rising sign placements. Now, there are online tutorials that you can Google and look for on how to read a natal chart, or you can look at YouTube, and there's lots of videos on how to find your natal chart. Or how to read your natal chart. If you've gone through this and you still can't figure out where your moon and your rising sign are, you can send me a screenshot of your birth chart. Please generate it as a Western birth chart, because I don't read Vedic astrology right now. It's something that I would like to learn how to do, but I don't do it right now, and I don't want to send you the wrong information. So send me a Western astrology chart for your birth chart, and I'll get back to you and confirm with you what your placements are for your sun, your moon, and your rising sign. That is a free service that I provide because I feel like it's something everybody should know about themselves, not only so you can watch the videos that correspond that I release, but also other readers, and it gives you an opportunity to delve deeper into your psychology and what makes you tick. I've used astrology in my chart not only to learn how to read astrology, and I learned how to read charts through reading my own chart and practicing on it and people that I know, but also I've used it as a predictive tool, and I've used it as a means for psychoanalysis, because I had a near-death experience in a house fire, and it was a spiritual awakening that put me on the path that led me to shuffling these tarot cards and talking to you about astrology. But that near-death experience was the beginning of this right now, of where I am. And it happened under the influence of happened within 2 days of a total blood moon lunar eclipse that occurred on October 8th of 2014. If you want to know the story behind the house fire, there are vlogs on my channel about it in different stages that I talk about, so you can definitely go check that out if you want to. But anyways, I do encourage you to generate that chart, because you will be able to actually find out where the Aries and Pisces placement is in that chart and correspond those house placements, because what I'm telling you is just generally for Aries, or not Aries, for Pisces rising and Pisces suns. So, go ahead and generate you a chart and try to figure out where your moon and your rising sign are. If you can't figure it out, by all means, send me a copy, and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. Just understand that I have recently started back to school, and I've got a lot of people requesting me to look at their chart and tell them this information, so I will get to you as soon as possible. Please be gracious with me when it comes to that, because I'm trying to learn how to be of service to you, but also maintain my GPA and be a good mom to my children and a good fiance to my fiance. So, a lot of plates in the air spinning. I'll do my best to keep everybody happy, but it may require giving me some time and some space in my response to these emails. So, with that, I'm going to pull the 4-card spread, like I said. Bottom card representing the underlying theme or the overarching energy, and I'm going to pull the top 3 for clarity. These can also be used in correspondence with time frames of past, present, and future, and I'll indicate that as I show them to you. Now I'm going to pull a card from the Sage Goddess Gemstone Oracle deck for my Pisces friends. And I'm sorry that y'all are the last sign of this series being released. I will go in reverse for the March videos, and I will release the Pisces. I will flip the script from Pisces down. Aries will be the last video that I release. So, because I'm not trying to be playing favorites or anything. It's just how I had the information written down in my tablet, so that's what I went with. Okay, that one flew out. Did you see that? Wow. Could feel like stuff is flying in and out of your life really quickly. Like you may not have a whole lot of control over the situation at hand. That card fell for another sign. I can't remember which one. I want to say like Virgo, I think. I'll talk about that too. But that's the second time that card has ever fallen for a recorded message, so that's pretty powerful. For my lovely Pisces. Let me cut this Journey of Love Oracle deck for you. Okay. From the Divine Circus Oracle deck by Elena Fairchild for my Pisces viewers and friends. And finally, from the Butterfly Oracle card for Life Changes deck by Doreen Virtue. And like I said before, I like to use this when we're under the influence of eclipses. Actually, the last time I used this deck was when we were doing fall eclipse season in 2016, back in August and September, because that eclipse season actually had 3 eclipses. And if you are wondering about that, I've got it marked on the playlists. You'll have to scroll down in the channel to look for it a little bit. But you can find that and see how your world has changed in the last 6 months under the influence of those eclipse energies that played out. Because it was a pretty rare thing to have 3 eclipses. They normally come in a pair. So Pisces, what I'm going to do now is hit the pause button, flip these cards over, and do the tarot math. I'll be right back with your story. Hang tight, y'all. Hi Pisces, I'm back with your cards, so let's get started. And I'm fighting back a coughing spell, so forgive me. I can't remember if I mentioned in the opening or not. They've been doing some open burning close to where I live in the southern part of Barksdale Air Force Base, and that has aggravated my breathing passages. So, Being asleep in the middle of a house fire for 8 to 10 minutes isn't healthy for one's breathing passages. Just saying. But this isn't about me. This is about y'all. I'm sorry if I cough. I've got water close by. Please forgive me. I'm doing the best that I can for y'all. The underlying theme or overarching energy of this spread, Pisces, is the 11th card of the major arcana, the Justice card. The 11 speaks to the 11th house on the astrological wheel, and that is the house of Aquarius. It deals with the internet, but it also is your friends, groups, memberships, and associations or teams that you belong to. It is also the house of your future wishes, goals, and dreams. This card in itself, the Justice card, is representative of the zodiac sign of Libra. Libra is transiting through your 8th house, and wherever Libra go, it gets bigger. Libra is a gas giant, and it is known for increase, expansion, excess, and achievement. But the thing about Jupiter is wherever it goes, it makes it bigger. So if you were having good experiences in this house, then it makes that bigger and better. But if you were having not so good experiences, it could make it worse. You could be dealing with a Libra. You could be dealing with a lot of thoughts of a Libra, or just possibly the loss of a Libra as well. Now, that 8th house that Jupiter is transiting through is the house of Scorpio. And the 8th house is the house of many different cycles. It's the house of the cycles of life, death, and rebirth. It's the cycle of transformation, regeneration, and metamorphosis. It deals with your primal, basic, or human instincts. It also speaks to other people's money, which is money coming to you not through your hourly earned wage, but through another person, like your spouse's, or through like a tax return, lottery winning, scholarship, grant, loan, inheritance, something to that effect, a legal settlement coming your way. The 11th card, like I said, is speaking to Aquarius, and that's the house of the internet and your friends and your groups. The Justice card is an indicator that you need balance. The underlying theme or overarching energy of this spread is that you do need balance in your life or in the situation that is being presented to you. But this is also an indicator that there is a reward coming to you for your effort. There is reward coming to you for your hard work and effort. The first card in the top 3 for clarity, which would represent the past, is the Ace of Cups upright. And the Ace of Cups, for me, represents water sign energy. The water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. The cups also deal with emotional situations and relationships, but I like to think of the cups as the anything that would make your cup runneth over, the things that emotionally validate, sustain, and uphold you and uplift you, the things that make you feel good about yourself, and that it's that gooey center, the emotional side of life. This speaks to the emotions. This is very much a cup runneth over type energy. I see this as tears falling and falling and falling. There are a lot of you Pisces that are dealing with loss in your life. And this loss could have been presented in an out-of-the-blue kind of way, because it's the hand coming in out of nowhere with this being presented. In another way, this could also be being presented as some sort of message or flirtation energy from the past. Something that filled you up and made you feel good. The Dove here, especially in the past, it could be that you are looking back on a past situation with fondness, or you may be getting signs from a possible loved one who has passed on. If it's not someone who has passed on, then it could be a past love or lover, or someone who you valued on a personal level who is coming back to extend the olive branch in some way and make it right, which could also make you overcome with emotion. The second card that I pulled for you, which represents the present energy if you need a time frame, this is the Star card. The Star is the 17th card of the major arcana. 1 plus 7 is 8. And that speaks to that house of Scorpio. Life, death, and rebirth, instincts, other people's money, transitions, metamorphosis, regeneration, sexuality, and other people's money. You could be dealing with a Scorpio, or you could be dealing with an Aquarius. This is the Star card is representative of the zodiac sign of Aquarius. The number 8 that I reduced up here, the 8th house, the ruler is Scorpio, but this card is representative of Aquarius. Now, Aquarius's ruler is Uranus, and Uranus is in the 2nd house with Venus, where Venus will be doing the retrograde motion in your 2nd and 1st house. This Star card is a card of inspiration and happiness, and it's also about embracing your uniqueness and your unique abilities. I also see this as a card of trying to find and maintain balance or honoring balance, but it's also respecting boundaries, not only making people respect yours, but you respecting others. And Pisces, that's a situation that many of you have where you're fish. I mean, you're the fishies, and you're swimming. You can put a fish in an aquarium, but I mean, if a fish is in open water, a fish is going to swim where a fish is going to swim. So there are no boundaries for you, which is understandable, but you need to understand that this life requires boundaries. Neptune being in the 1st house, it could be, again, that you've experienced a lot of probably emotional things that make you feel emotional. It could be a very spiritual time for you with Neptune being in the 1st house. Neptune is the planet that represents nebulousness, imagination, illusion, and also addiction. You may be dealing with addictive tendencies. Seeing the 2 cups in this character's hands does make me think of drinking as well, so be careful with that. This solar eclipse in Pisces that's coming up in your 1st house is the perfect time for you to leave behind any addiction that you may have or addictive qualities that you may be struggling with, my Pisces. And understand that's not any judgment. It's coming from a place of love. We all have our own vices. We all have our own paths and our own journeys and our own lessons that are attached to that. Just know that it's a good time for you to leave what you are ready to leave behind you when it comes to addictive qualities with this solar eclipse in your house, in your 1st house. Now, the 3rd card that fell for you, which can represent the future, is the Hanged Man, and the Hanged Man is upright. It's the 12th card of the major arcana, and the 12th card represents the 12th house, and you, Pisces, are the ruler of the 12th house. This is the darkest house on the astrological wheel. Dark as in absence of light, kind of dark. This is the house of secrets, secret enemies, secrets that you keep from yourself through repression. This is the house of dreams. This is the house of secrets that you keep from others and the secrets that you keep in general. This is the house of your repression and your self-undoing and your limitations, but it's also a karmic house. This Hanged Man card is representative of the planet Neptune, which is in your 1st house, which I just got finished speaking about, dealing with nebulousness, illusion, spirituality, but also all of those traits that Neptune can bring, the issues with boundaries as well. You aren't having any 12th house energy per se, but that doesn't mean that you aren't experiencing or going through a very spiritual time in some way. And the spiritual awakening that some of you may be going through may have been initiated by something that felt like your world being turned upside down by the placement of this card being in the or being upright, but it looks like it's in the reverse, literally hanging by a thread. No control. You have your hands tied behind your back and you're hanging by one foot. It completely knocked you off of your rocker or whatever it was, and it was a shock to the head in some way or another. It was a shock to your head, or dealing with a shock to the head. It could have been a shocking situation, and it could be something that you are still struggling with to this day. And the oracle cards are definitely indicating that, yes, this is something that many of you are still struggling with. If this was not the loss of an actual person through death, this could have been the loss of an individual through a relationship ending or something to that effect. But for the majority of you, the way that I'm seeing it, it's more through loss of either intimate relationships, through like sexual partnerships, that sort of thing, or marriage relationships. If not that, then through the loss and death in some way. But there's justice in the overarching theme or underlying spread. So there's a reward coming for your effort in dealing with, excuse my language, all of the bullshit that has been handed to the majority of y'all on one way or another. You've got Neptune, illusion, imagination, nebulousness, addiction in the first house. That's you. The second house is the house of mind, and that's shocks and surprises. The second house is the house of your values and the things that you care about, and that it's your money, your earning ability, your self-esteem, your that second house is the house where Uranus is transiting as well, where Venus is. It's Aries. It's, oh, that's interesting. Uranus being shocks and surprises to the head, Aries, making you feel like your world has been turned upside down. And it could have been dealing with like a secret enemy, or dealing with secrets being exposed in one way or another. If not through the internet, then dealing with the internet in some way, in some situations. In other situations, dealing with your friends, your groups, or associations that you belong to. And for a very few number of you, it could just be the reflection that your future wishes, goals, or dreams, or your bucket list just may not come to the full fruition of the dreams that you had, but you're finding balance between your dream and making it a reality, is what I'm seeing in the Justice card coming forward for you. Now, I did the math on this spread. It ended up being 40. 4 plus 0 is 4. That speaks to the Cancer ruled house of home and family, or roots and foundation. Home is where you live, or where you consider home to be, and family is who you share that home with. That can be your parents, that can be your spouse, your partner, your children, your fur babies. It can also speak to your housemates, your house guests, or your roommates. That fourth house also is the house of the mother, traditionally, when you're looking at the chart just on a mundane level. So this could be some of you may be dealing with the loss of a mother. Some of you may be dealing with shocks and surprises dealing with a mother or mother energy. There may be a few of you that are actually coming up pregnant as well. Some of you may be shocked because you find out you are becoming pregnant, and there needs to be some balance in your life, and you need to be careful with whatever escapist-like tendencies you may be employing, Pisces. Once again, no judgment, but still that has to be put out there, because Saturn's in your 10th house, and that's your reputation and your status, and you could change your status from being many different things, not only in your relationship, but also being a parent, from being a single person or being in a relationship to being parents now. That's a completely different evolution of that cycle, of that relationship. You get what I'm saying? So, yeah. The Sage Goddess Gemstone Oracle card that I pulled for you is the Apache Tear Obsidian card. I cannot for the life of me remember which other... This is the second time this card has shown up in this spread, in this series. It was in a video that I did late last night, early this morning, And it all starts to bleed together after about 30 or 40 minutes of talking to each zodiac sign. It starts to bleed together, but this fell for one other sign, and I feel like that's important. I want to say it was Virgo. If it wasn't Virgo, it was Leo. And it involves Leo because this can help heal and amplify the root and heart chakra vibrations. So, the Apache Tear Obsidian card deals with grounding, protection, and emotional healing, y'all. I'm just saying. The Apache Tear Obsidian grounds, protects, and heals. It also cleanses your emotional wounds. You have pulled this card because you are grieving. Oh. Ooh, okay. You'll see why in a minute. Because you are grieving and need to support you are grieving and need support to release your emotions. Meditate with Apache Tear Obsidian to find new hope, embrace joy, and release your pain to the infinite source of love and light. Oh, Pisces, Pisces. My sweet fishies. The card that I pulled for you from the Journey of Love deck is the 17th card of the deck, and it reads, Her Grace. 1 + 7 is 8, and that is synchronistic to the Jupiter transit of your 8th house. That is the house of Scorpio. This card is indicative that there is a woman who brings spiritual or divine blessings and knowledge into your life, who is trying to connect with you more deeply. The inner goddess could be awakening within some of you, Pisces. For all of you, it would be a good idea to celebrate the divine feminine. Honor your femininity. And for the males that are watching this, you can honor your femininity by being receptive or by acknowledging the females in your world and asking what you can do to make their lives easier. That's not to say to become their slave. That's to say trying to understand their struggle and give them loving energy to help heal that portion in you as well. This female who is trying to give you these lessons, blessings, and knowledge could be a relative, an acquaintance, a friend, a foe, or a stranger, someone you just barely know. But the thing about it is she has a soul contract with you, which means this is a pre-arranged agreement between both of your souls to meet at a predestined time to awaken and empower you. Be open to her. Be open to this. Embrace her and your truth. Maybe involving a Scorpio because of the number 8. Okay, here we go. The next card is the 8 of the Divine Circus Oracle deck. Y'all cannot tell me there is not synchronicity running through this spread right here. There are definite messages that are coming forth for you, Pisces. Please comment down below if this is resonating for you, because I know of one particular Pisces that it would. The Supernova card, also speaking to that Jupiter transit, making it bigger, of life, death, and rebirth. Other people's money. Regeneration, transformation, and metamorphosis. Also dealing with sexual and sexuality natures, or the nature of sexuality. The Oracle of the Supernova is an indicator that now you are in the period of an extreme growth cycle. And growth hurts, y'all. They don't call it growing pains for nothing. It is a painful process to grow. And if you are growing at an accelerated rate, even more so, the pain can feel excruciating at times. It can feel hard to breathe, and it can be exhausting to just exist. Growth can be quite painful if it's accelerated, especially in a cycle like this of your spiritual evolution. What you will need on this journey will find you in perfect timing, and it will almost feel like serendipity. But this is synchronicity. This is the universe conspiring on your behalf. Now is a good time to release what was with love and grace and gratitude and thankfulness, so that you can grow bigger and brighter like the supernova that you were created and intended to be. Now you've had the Oracle card from the Sage Goddess Gemstone deck speaking to emotional healing, also healing the heart chakra, which speaks to that Leo lunar eclipse, because Leo rules the heart. That's the 6th house of work and health. You've had 2 Oracle cards from Elena Fairchild's decks that have both either added up to 8 or were the number 8, which speaks to that 8th house that's ruled by Scorpio. And that's the house of life, death, and rebirth, amongst other things that I have repeated and repeated and repeated in this video. The final card that was pulled for you out of the Butterfly Oracle card deck for Life Changes by Doreen Virtue is the Grief Work card. And y'all, if you know me, if you've watched my videos for any length of time, you've probably heard me speak about Angie, and one of my signs for her is the ladybug. I actually did a pre-eclipse check-in video because there was a ladybug crawling in the debate room yesterday. And what in the world do we have here? I'm just going to say hi, Angie. You are loved and you are missed. Beyond measure, beyond measure. Now, Pisces, I'm sorry, I had to do that. I had to honor her spirit. She is one of my guides. The Grief Work card indicates that your heart needs some healing from an extreme loss, or dealing with the compounded loss of many, many losses. Unhealed grief can amplify exponentially sometimes with each subsequent loss that you face. It's healthier for you to release than to hurt yourself or tear yourself apart by holding on to the past, to the pain, or to a possible person. And in dealing with your own losses, it can help you to be more compassionate to others around you. Looking like a ladybug and everything, I swear, I do declare. Pisces, I do hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you already have, I thank you from the bottom of my very grateful heart. I do hope that you're well. Please take care of yourself and employ your self-care measures, because you will be feeling especially sensitive. Please save some of that kindness that you use on yourself for others, because we're all facing private battles in our world that some of us may never speak about to another living soul. Well, this is the end of the Venus Retrograde series, and I am going to stop talking very shortly so I can go outside and watch the lunar eclipse and maybe catch a glimpse of that green comet that's supposed to be flying by as well. Fingers crossed. Pisces, self-care is important right now, and it is not a selfish act. You cannot serve from an empty well. So please take care of yourself. And if you need help, please reach out to someone that you care about, that cares about you, so they can help you through any of the struggles that you may be enduring. Because the empathy in my heart can feel the loss that some of you are going through. I will be around for the March videos, and it is blowing my mind that I'm even saying that. March 2017. It'll be here before we know it. Take care, y'all. I'll see you soon, but until then, namaste, and bye, y'all.